Let's hear it for Bridget.
Hi, I'm Bridget. I'm going to discuss why it makes more sense for you as a creative, bright individual to form an LLC with your domestic partner rather than getting married. Now, it is true that for most couples, marriage is the ultimate destination for their relationship. It's steeped in tradition, it's legally binding, it's socially acceptable, and makes your mother happy. And it is often viewed as the only option for escalation in your otherwise stagnating long-term relationship. Marriage, for the most part, also includes a ceremony, some kind of wedding that can cost upwards of thousands of dollars for a single day. It includes the bride, the groom, a big cake, lots of guests, catered food, wedding rings, a marriage license, and the expenses you never see coming, like color choices for Jordan almonds, tipping the DJ that ruined your father-daughter dance, and the best man either throwing up on or sleeping with your maid of honor, your mother completely losing her mind, endless fights with your spouse-to-be over ridiculous things like delicate little disposal paper accessories, and dealing with the relatives like these that you never wanted to see again. The end result of this joyous event is usually a lot of fresh debt, less than half the stuff you registered for, and about 20 ugly cookie jars. And the benefits are obvious. You get things like shared health benefits, lower insurance rates, automatic inheritance rights if your spouse is suddenly killed in a bus accident, things of that nature. But there's also the ever-dwindling tax breaks, now only available if you and your spouse are either incredibly rich or ridiculously poor. Plus the fun of sharing a last name, having the fight over sharing a last name, hyphenating a last name, or changing everyone's name. And if you're among the very lucky, you'll end up like these two, finding happiness that lasts until you are very old and very gray together, raising a family, building a home, never having to worry about potential deal breakers, such as the undisclosed mental illness, finding out you married a complete asshole, financial ruin, work-life balance issues, or in this case, infidelity. Infidelity can be financial, emotional, or any number of things in between, but the most devastating is sexual infidelity. And while diversification can be good in the business world, it usually kills a marriage, leading to divorce. If you're not one of the couples that can decide to diversify on your own and add a third party that receives no legal protection to your marriage, you end up in divorce court. Divorce is financially draining, emotionally horrifying, and it ends up in a metric fuck ton of paperwork. An LLC, on the other hand, is not simply just a partnership. And it's not a corporation. The owners are considered not partners, not shareholders, but equal level members of a less formal and more flexible organization. An organization with significant protections and advantages and the possibility of a well thought out and executed organizational agreement. You and your partner can enter into an LLC, file documents outlining organization, how assets and costs are divided, who is responsible for what duties, what happens in case of economic loss or a significant life event, and what happens in the event of a termination. Since this is legally binding, feel free to put in a clause about sexual performance. The cost of filing an LLC is significantly cheaper, especially in Wisconsin. It's $135 and takes 7 to 10 business days, or 24 hours if you're willing to pay a slightly higher fee. And you do have to choose a name, but that's way less paperwork than changing your name with the Social Security office. And some say a successful business is a lot like a successful marriage. It includes healthy levels of respect, open and honest communication. And if you already have all that anyway, why not choose an option where you're channeling your passions into a joint effort that might end up making money? Let's go to the next slide. Okay, in the last year, 26 states passed constitutional amendments banning same-sex marriage, 18 of which prohibit any type of same-sex union, and 19 additional states have legal statutes that define marriage as a union of two persons of the opposite sex. And as you know, propositions are throughout the country right now, completely trying to protect the institution. Currently, all 50 states allow LLCs to be formed between adults, regardless of their gender identity or sexual orientation. You can form an LLC by yourself if you want to, or between yourself and your best friend, yourself and your soulmate, yourself and your girlfriend and her best friend, or an entire soccer team if you so choose. And while diversification is sometimes a deal breaker within the context of legal marriage, it's something that can be planned for and even beneficial in an LLC, indicating growth and success within your company without any of the attached social stigma or the shame of being diversified upon for the wronged party. It also results in not having the FBI raid your compound or becoming one of the creepy threesomes that makes out publicly at the Renaissance Fair. Point out that additionally, the operating agreement you file at the beginning of your LLC becomes immediately effective, unlike a prenuptial agreement. That only becomes effective at the dissolvement of your marriage. This means it's instantly legally binding. If your sexual performance provision is being breached, feel free to take it to arbitration until all parties are sufficiently satisfied. I'd like to give a final thought here about LLCs. They're traditionally formed around ideas, diverse ideas for innovative products and solutions agreed upon by you and your fellow LLCers. These ideas can bring you fame, acclaim, and most importantly, some sort of financial reward. This is strikingly different from the products usually produced by traditional marriages. Let's show that. These tend to be of only one variety, and they're always end up costing you more than providing you with any kind of profit. Around the age of 14, they also tend to resent you and end up in therapy telling everyone about how horrible you were for the entire life. Finally, I would like to dedicate this to my husband, Toby Serqua, thwarted all of my best attempts to diversify, and for whatever reason decided to marry me instead of forming Fantastico Enterprises, LLC.
Thanks, Bridget.